What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today this episode is about pros and cons with inboard versus outboard engines. I'm gonna use my own boat as a case study for those decisions and the pros and cons. Currently I have inboard engines. I have two daycruiser 4.3 engines in them with the Alpha 1 Gen 2 stern drive, but I'm gonna explore it, and I've been thinking about what I'm supposed to do when these engines run out of their service lifetime, more or less something like that. And that got me started thinking about inboard versus outboard. Alright guys, let's head down to the boat, check it out, and you'll understand what I'm talking about with the pros and cons of switching from inboard to outboard, and then we'll have a look at my evaluation I have right here on my computer and the little thoughts I have back and forth about how to realize that, or if I should even do it, you know? Alright, from the waterline down to the keel, about 68 centimeters. Thinking about the transom, 30-inch one. Rig on an outboard engine is 76. It's going to be sitting really deep in the water. So that's why I need some sort of bracket to come out from the actual transom in there. You see it's pretty deep. Just to have that, get that going. So the engine will be out here somewhere, about 600 millimeters width. So having two engines will be just take up the whole space there, and won't leave any room for someone to swim and have a good time. So having one engine, can also build the swim platform, take out two extra wings on it like that, have the engine in the middle. But let's jump inside and see how much room we can save with the outboard solution. Alright guys, as you can see down here, if I would remove these engines, it would be a lot of more space down here to have water tanks, more batteries, accessories, and generators, and whatever we want to have here. But I really don't know what to do here, but you know, if I should keep these or if I should just go for it and swap this to an outboard engine. Need to think about that. Yeah, so what you can see here on my computer screen is that I checked have different columns here. I have one fuel column, which is gas and diesel, and I have the manufacturer and type. Check some different options here and the horsepower I get from that for a specific price, how many units there are, and I want for an outboard drive it's beneficial if it's one, and the green is an evaluation, and the one is one outboard engine, but it's not really applicable to the inboard solutions I also have here, as the inboard engines won't impact the swim platform accessibility, so I give that also a green. I have the total horsepower here, and if I had one engine, I would need a bow thruster not to look like a fool when I'm coming into dock, so I'm putting a price tag on that. A penalty to have just one outdrive, one stern drive, and then I get a total price and a comparison from the cheapest, how much more expensive each of the subsequent options are. I also check some top speed here. Some of them, I mean the one I have right now, top speed 37 knot, that's pretty known, that's what I have, but some of the others are more or less estimated or calculated based on equal boats I've seen in magazines and the performance they have. So I think that's going to be it's a little ballpark number, but the evaluation I would like to have come above 40 knots would be pretty nice. I got a green on that one. And then I have this cost, knots per cost. It's just an evaluation, a ratio between the knots divided by the total price for installation or purchase of the items. More or less, the installation is not included here. Times something to step that number up to be more easy to, a little bit easier to understand. So that's a knot per cost. Put that to above or equal to a 100. Top speed above or equal 40 knots. Price is based on Swedish currency, which so I capped that at 400,000 Swedish kronor, which is about $44,444.44. And of course for outboard units it's beneficial for less than 2 outdrives. So the evaluation here is that it's above 3 greens. Is you know, it's a good option. It has the accessibility for the swim platform. It has decent price within the limits, and top speed, and it's not per cost gives it a 3. So we have 4 options here more or less. It's buying some twin used 2-stroke Evinrude 225s. I found a pretty good price on, or continue with the current setup, current engines, but anticipating and taking the cost for perhaps replacing stern drives, replacing the transom, perhaps have a new block. Other options we have is a single Mercury 300, single Suzuki 300, a Mercury 350, up to 400, and then we have also twin installations, Mercury 200, Suzuki, and Mercury 250. And then we come down to replacement engines with the Alpha seawater cooled 4.3 MPI. That will be the new engines that are comparable to mine. A little bit more horsepower, put 200 here. And also then we have a twin Mercury 400. That will be top. That would probably be above 50 knots. Have the Volvo Penta diesel D3 200, including stern drives, and the Mercruiser Marine Diesel 3.0 with Bravo drives. So yeah, that's a comparison, and the winners are up here is a single 300, or continue what I'm having, or trying to find something that is used. But talking about the Swedish used engine market, that's a completely different story. I mean, it's crazy how few engines you can find used, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna go into that, but there are a lot of thefts. You know, people lose their engines, and we don't have a used market for them, more or less at all, because those engines are just they taken out of the country. There's no market for used outboard engines in Sweden, more or less. I could make another topic about that. I could go and check some stats and so on, put something together if you like that. So please leave a comment if you want to see that. I can definitely do that episode, do some research, be a little investigator, but you know, you decide, or perhaps I do it anyway. Who knows? Alright, good. So that's more or less the comparison. Of course, we need to talk about the pros and cons with different engines. Of course, we need to talk about, the impact of actually performing this change, which is huge. If I'm gonna switch from inboard to outboard, we can check that. As you saw on the boat, we talked about that. So that would be taking out the engines, taking out the transom, stern drives, removing all that, and then more or less redoing the transom of the boat, the whole aft part. Probably reinforce that, making sure it can hold, because these engines will be mounted a little bit out on a bracket. I think the tension and forces on that can be pretty big. So I guess to strengthen the transom and also have a bracket, get that engine more aft, to be able to also perhaps raise it up a little bit more. What else? Of course, there will be a lot more room in the boat. Taking out the engine, that would be completely empty, more or less. And with that space, I can fit more like extra freshwater tanks, more batteries. I can put in, I don't know, water heaters. I can put in generator and so on. So that would free up really much space inside the boat for other accessories. So that's pretty nice though. And having that outboard, a single engine outboard, I think the maintenance will be pretty easy. Noise, I think the noise would be reduced a little bit. More space on the boat, more accessibility, easier to trailer boat. But this is a 6,000 pound boat, so it's not something that I at least will trailer around. But if you're into that, that's of course an option, and something that's beneficial to having an outboard engine instead of an inboard, if you like to trail a lot. But everything's working, my engines are working fine, nothing wrong with them. Of course, a little anxiety about the age from 1995, that of course impacts a little bit the reliability, I guess, but knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with them so far. I'm pretty happy with those engines. Is that I can chop that elephant up in smaller pieces and do the reinvestments and upgrades over time, instead of just buying a new engine like that and then rebuilding the boat, which also will be like start a lot of new projects and fitting in new water tanks and a little bit of that and filling up that area with some cool things and cool accessories. Then there's also the weight issue. These engines, Mercury 350 or something is at 700 pounds or something like that, or 350 kilos, and one of my engines right now is 360, excluding the stern drive. which is probably another 50 kilos or something like that. So it would be about 400 kilos or 800 pounds. I mean, everything is rough here, so don't go and like take out your calculator and get into 408.7 pounds or whatever. So it's just rough ballpark figures, so we don't need to go into that detail. So that would be a huge weight reduction. I don't know how that would impact how the boat sits in the water, but also I mean, the engine will move a little bit more to the aft, so I get a little more momentum, and also probably fit in some more accessories into that empty area. It could be a water tank, more batteries, or a generator or something like that, and that would add also some weight and get the balance in the boat a little better. But who knows if it's gonna sit higher in the aft. But I started thinking about this project and I thought it would be pretty interesting to swap out and put outboard engine on it. But let's see what happens, and I would love to get your feedback and input, of course, on that, because that would be pretty cool. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification so you don't miss out on future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.